Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a cool Wednesday morning. It's 6 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 42 in American. It rained hard last night, and they say it's going to clear up, so I hope I'm wearing the right clothes because I've got to go out and about a bit today. Ever hopeful. Clever people would have brought their raincoat. Just in case. I didn't. Well, I've got a really fun day today. In some ways, I'm going to be taking my student to the law courts so that he can experience how it's different from law and order. It's always part of my challenge, is to let them see that the law is a whole lot of paperwork and very little law and order. I think so many young people see the courtroom drama and go, oh, I'd love to do that. And that's true. And at least one lawyer I know watched, I think, LA Law or one of those programs when he was sort of 11 or something. And just went, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do. And did. And so, you look at it and you go, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. But as another commented to me one day, or actually commented to a student that I had with me that day, this is called, do you want to take your finals every day of your life? Because that is what he compared it to. It's like taking your finals every single day of your life. That's the stress level. And so you look at it and you go, wow, you need to be a certain personality to want to put up with that sort of level of stress. And it's not for everybody, obviously. And one of the things that I find interesting, though, is when I do this tour to the courts with them, I take them to see various sorts of law. In other words, I take them to see the contractor and the client who are fighting over whether or not the contractor put up the fence properly, and maybe the swimming pool guy who didn't pour the concrete properly for the pool and now it's leaking. All those sort of what they call small matters. And they're fascinating to watch because so much of them is based on what was in the contract. And I cannot tell you how many of those cases you listen to or watch if you happen to be in the public gallery. And I always encourage people to go and sit in and listen. You learn a lot about the law just by going in and listening to a court case or two. And for example, so many people just do things on a handshake. They actually don't have it in writing. And so therefore, I don't care how friendly your friendly contractor is. Get a quote and get it in writing and hold him to it. And it's amazing, because even I got caught on this myself. A contractor who quotes one thing, so you say yes, and the next thing it costs you nearly twice as much. So I love to take them in to witness those sort of court cases, and, you know, or maybe even a custody case, family law, because that's heartbreaking. Family law is heartbreaking to listen to anyway, because, you know, it's a dream gone poofed in the night. You know, at one stage they were hopefully in love, and in love enough to get married and think they were going to live happily ever after. And yet when you see them in court, it's anything but. And emotions are very high, and the need to be right very high as well. So it is good experience to have them watch a little bit. Don't have to watch all the cases, just get some idea of it. And then I will take them into a more serious matter. Maybe a gang type trial or a murder trial, or one of the two. One and the same in a lot of cases. And that's a whole different ball of wax when you're talking criminal. But hopefully in a few hours I can give them a pretty good sense of the difference between the two. How the small matters is very fast. Do you have that piece of paper, yes or no? No? Okay. You know, it's just like, okay. Did you have it in writing? No. Okay. In other words, if you didn't have it in writing, it doesn't hold as much weight. And so the fascinating thing is that in a couple of hours, if I can go and show them different sorts of law, it's amazing how quickly they go, oh, well, I'd really like to be in this sort. And the other thing I have them do is to watch the body language, both of both sides, you know, of the clients and the barristers who are there. I have them actually watch the body language and see if they can see who was prepared and who wasn't by their body language and their voice tone. So it's a study in a lot of things in a very short space of time, but it normally ends up being very meaningful for them. So we will be doing that. And then, of course, tomorrow will be my last day with my student. Those 3 weeks have gone by very quickly. He will still work on Friday, but I won't see him then because I don't work on Fridays. So we will take him to lunch and thank him. And that will be fun. And it's cute because his teacher came in, as they do. They come in a couple of times during the 3 weeks, very early on, and then closer towards the end. And this is, of course, the last time that I will do this. And it was quite a sad time because the teacher was really, really sad, and obviously wanting to know who was going to take over my function next. And I said, I have no idea, if at all. And the reason, if at all, is very few people are prepared to take the time to mentor somebody else. It takes a lot of time and a lot of extra work. And when you're already pretty busy, put it mildly, that doesn't please a lot of people. Anyway, so there's part of me, and you'll forgive me for this, but there's part of me that is learning to say, not my problem. Because I can worry myself a great deal about it, and I have no reason to. It's not my problem. It's the problem of the school or the problem of the company. I don't have to worry about it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, some of you have been a mentor in as much as you've been parents. But I'm a great believer that being a mentor to a young person sometimes is much more meaningful if it's not your child. I think that from my experience, parents are far less cheerleaders. I'm saying the majority. I'm sure some of you were wonderful cheerleaders of your children. But a lot of them, definitely not. They were strong disciplinarians, maybe, but not necessarily strong cheerleaders. I found it interesting last night, because I watched part of the town hall meeting with Donald Trump and his family. I found it very interesting that for every day of their school life and every day of their growing up life, his parting words to his children every day were, remember, no drugs, no alcohol. Every single day. And all of the children said the amount of eye rolling that went on every day was just insane. But every single day he repeated the mantra: no alcohol, no drugs. And it's interesting because he was saying that he has quite a lot of his friends who have children who have not had that conditioning, and their friends are now going, please, can you help me with my child? So I thought that was a very interesting mentorship to his children. Every single day. Now some of you are really good and have been really good or were very good about having your children say their prayers. It was a faith thing. And how many of you are going, would have been really good idea to add that in, you know, or to add in a self-affirmation. I am strong enough to resist alcohol and drugs. Or if you are faith-based, God grant me the strength to resist. Yeah. So I think it's very, very interesting what we program ourselves for and what our mentors program us for. I can remember having a mentor who was the senior vice president of a bank, and she told me exactly when to buy my property. And you know, it was amazing, because she literally would say, not yet, not yet, not yet. And for about 6 months, she said, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then one day she phoned me and said, buy now. And it was just after Christmas. at the bottom of a down market. It was just beginning to turn, apparently, and they, the bank could see that. And she said, "Buy now," and I did. I went out and I already had the property just about. What she told me all the time was keep looking for the property you want to buy and keep adding to that list so that when I tell you, you can take your pick. I went, okay. I listened. And that's exactly what I did. And the day that she said, okay, buy now, I went to my number one choice. Phoned my realtor and said, get me in there. Made the offer. It was really quite simple. It was more than I wanted, so they counted. I came in with an offer that was lower, and they counted, and I came back with a second offer and said, by the way, this is my last offer, because this is as high as I can go. And, leaving it to them to make the decision. It wasn't, playing anything other but the truth. And I wanted to make sure the buyer knew that it was I had the money already. It wasn't that they'd have to wait for me to sell a property. The money was already there. It was a fairly unconditional type deal. All I needed was somebody to go in and check it out. So, who was the most meaningful person as a mentor in your life? I'm certain that some of you will say a school teacher. I had one that actually said to me something that really blew me away. As I was leaving school, she took me aside and said, Sal, I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but I do know that you are going to impact an awful lot of people. And then she looked at me and went, hopefully for the good. You see, she knew both sides of my personality. And I thought that was so cute. It was just like, she could see me getting into a lot of trouble if I wanted to. And that people would probably follow me as well. Not that I think she thought I was going to become a gang member or anything. No, that wasn't it. It was just a case of I had that little devil in me, and she knew it. And I thought that was really cute. But she said, in all seriousness, she said to me, I know you're going to impact a lot of people in your lifetime. And I never forgot that. I always asked myself, am I doing something that impacts people? I hope so. Am I making a difference in anybody's life? I hope so. And I've always kept that as part of my reason for being. I had another mentor who taught me that my 3 greatest weaknesses could also be my 3 greatest strengths. And that changed my life in some ways. I think that was one of the most aha moments I had, because nobody had ever said that to me before. All right, everybody, so have a wonderful day. Make a difference in somebody's life if you can. And remember that being a mentor can be as simple as just encouraging somebody today. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.